This day 1339, Arukh Hashulchan Yomi. We are learning the excuse for Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael and Sunim Batzar Rashivya in these days of Torah, Eis Torah Yaakov, and many Vashea. Today we're doing there Siman Reish Aleph, Sif Kuf Beches to Sif Kuf Tzadik Dalet. I should alert the Olam that the end of Reish Aleph is in sight. It will be on this coming Yirtz Hashem Thursday, February 1st. Leminyanim. Okay, so today is Sunday, so a few more days. So Siman Reish Aleph, Sif Kuf Beches, to Sif Kuf Tzadik Dalet. Kuf Beches. Kasar Beis Yosef, the seafood noon time. Kol Mur of the mikveh, which is a mix of the mikveh areuk, mikveh madbilimbo, and you can travel in it. Kumas hasmuchas to be a mikveh, hollows which are adjacent to open to the mikveh makom rakle parsus behema, shuba maim, and the place where the animals have stepped, which is water, muravim me mikveh, and it works with the mikveh, kashver sanod. In the shear of Vishver Sanod, might be Levam Akal Shona. Steve Nunches, Kasav Chorea Maora, holes in caves, the Sikimar, and cracks in caves. And the Arukh Hashulchan says here in brackets, Rog Mikvoshem Hoyba Moros, most of the Mikvos were in caves. Might be Levam, you could tell them, Apishe Maim Shabem Muravi Mea Mikva, Ela Bechoshu, even though the water in them is only mixed with the water mikvah in a minuscule amount. Stephen that's Kosav Uka. He writes an Uka, which Arukh translates as a kafira, a dugout Shabatoch HaMikvah, which is in the mikvah of Ima. I saw Karga Mavdelas, Ben Uka, Ben Mikvah, if between his dugout spot and the mikvah, the ground was bria, was healthy, and this dugout spot can sustain itself. You can't play with something in the water in the dugout spot until they're mixed up with the mikvah the size of shres. So note, if it can't sustain itself, the walls are going to collapse. Even then only mixed together by a minuscule amount. So it's the Rambam and from the Mishnah. Turish Mikos leaves all this out. Perhaps it's practical because in such small amount of water. Vadai Einam Rim Litfias Adam Rak Lekalim. Only not so for the feel of a human being, only for little vessels. That's why he didn't write them. Okay, Kupetes. The explanation is the Yeshim Mikvos Makomas Ubdanik Sas Mikramai Shemikman. Mikvos the nooks and crannies, which are somewhat separate from the main water of the mikvah. Come by mikvah nevertheless is like a mikvah. If they have a connection with the mikvah water. But there's some of them which the connection has to be the size of shver sanod. Such as a place which is separate to itself, like a hole or a dugout. And there's enough, some of them it's enough to have a minuscule connection. Says when they don't have a chalei shame in of themselves. Everybody sees that it's part of the mikvah. Like holes and cracks, nooks and crannies. Therefore, a koshu connection is enough there. Because so far being a mikvah, and even if you have a dugout in the wall of the mikvah, we say by a wall of dirt from the main body mikvah. Because that's small. The wall cannot hold itself up, but by definition, it's only a hole. That's why if the hole can sustain itself, and it's separate from the mikvah. Therefore, it requires mikvah like the hole between one mikvah and another mikvah. It's not like the jet, according to the Rambam, the tube. He said uka is like a trough in the stone. It's all the same thing. Every they say we can put table in the mikvah which is less than 40 saw next to the mikvah which is 40 saw. The body of the human being who's there has to be covered by the waters of the mikvah. Ach bekalim dai revius. But if the toivel kalim, it's enough to have a revius. Imaklim is possible if the kli is covered by the revius. Kamo maktin with such as the needles and little pipettes. Philopos revius and not less than revius, which is 3.3 ounces according to Reb Chaim Noah, 4.1 according to Chazish. The Shach writes this. The Nius Daiti says Arukh Hashulchan was not Nius Daiti. In my opinion, came to Chabes my mikvah kamash savnu, like since it's connected to mikvah water as we mentioned. Dai b'choshu imaklim miskasable. It doesn't have to be simply a reus. So we're going to cover that keli. Brackets, he says, Ashach tziyin le'ayim asim kuf chapsi kambez vein sham shum remezin zevet tzarchir. Arukh Hashulchan doesn't understand that connection. We won't understand either, certainly without seeing it. Sorry. Kuf tzadi. Because Rabbeinu Ramah b'sifnim zayim zelshano. The Ramah writes, L'chein kliyim to a mikveh. If you have a vessel next to mikveh, naneh b'yod a mikveh, he can vibrate the mikveh with his hand, so it makes a wave in the water, and it'll pass on top of the vessel, and the tefillah becomes effective. As long as you don't uproot the wave from its place, but rather it should be still connected to the mikvah. End quote. The same of by Mishnah. So per Zayin, the Tanakh says Machshin Yisora Amalos Hamamara. This is a famous Mishnah because when people want to say Kaddish Rabbanan, at least the Community Chabad, they say this Mishnah and then they say Rabbi Chaim and Akasha. So a needle which is on the step of a cave, you would wave your hand in the water. Once the wave passes it, it's Torah and Sham. I could say it's like a person's and he's vibrating with his hand. That's when you're making the primary mikvah with your hand. But here, ikar mikvah, the primary part of the mikvah is in its place for mikvah, and the wave itself is connected to mikvah. So, it's no different than putting a clean hand in the mikvah. Brackets, he says here, because to me, why in the Shulchan does not mention this halach in the middle? Ram Yofa, that's levush lo iskir. Why not the levush? I don't understand what you say. Lord, Ram Yofa, levush, they both mention this halacha. Because of our rush, by the way, the Tes Yosef was written by Tes Yosef. So, okay. And anyway, because of our rush, because Mikvah Simon Chavgim was Shona. The rush writes, actually, as long as the wave is not severed from the waters of the mikveh, the Oslo Matar main bar by himself, because then wouldn't be Matar unless it itself at 40 saw. And rather, this wave is still connected on one side to the waters of the mikveh kind of shoro. That's because Rabbeinu Ramah, that's what the more might say about gam and kamo, as long as the wave is not uprooted from its spot. If the wave at 40 saw, it's okay even if it's not connected to the mikveh. Why? So it's to be stationary, not traveling through the air with the graves to be. So you have to say so, but spring. Because in a mikveh, how would the wave be matar in passing? It's moving. It's a shach's question. A spring only needs a kol shu. Doesn't need lemon by himself. Only require 40. So zev gufa mayan, that's in the spring itself. Need lashmi mayan, when it's severed from the spring, tzarchar by himself, you have to have 40. So yeshik shal rush those axos echav shalach shirmi bar by himself afshani lashmi nagal. How can you possibly be makshir with 40 saw even when it's severed from the wave? The person made the wave, right? And he's makabel tuma. That's the other question. The person made the wave. But by the time it gets too far on the vessels, the man's handiwork is no longer extant. That's a shach. The Rambam writes, you have 3 indentations, let's call them, in a rivulet. River, let's say it's here. The bottom one and the top one hold 20 saw. Excuse me, saw. And middle it's 40. And a flood of rain is passing through the river. Afa Bishu Nichlas Toichon, to this wadi, to be more specific. Even though it goes into it and comes out of it, it's not a valid connection. Use the middle one for tefillah. Because water which is moving is not considered to be connected unless it's stationary. The connection mikvos only is accomplished when they're standing in a line. The water connecting them is at rest. But when it's high and low, where the water must flow, they're not connected that way. That's called ketapris in the Gemara. V'deinu mechabris mikvos doesn't connect mikvos. More again, enough design. V'day yishon b'chagiga on that yutes chagiga uvot tosefta zudas toseftas brought. If you perk in the mikvos and third perk mikvos, yeshon plukta is machlok. So Meir Rabbi Yehuda between Meir Rabbi Yehuda. Meir says is tobin gambel yoin or mil grasik. Also in the top one because say grasik and it's connected down below. You say the eight of them can't connect up one. The grasik on me. We don't say grasik. Tovlin, but in the bottom one you can tell. I mean, grasik needs to go up from the mikvah 40 saw to the mikvah 20 saw. That we don't do. But go down, or that would be machlekes. But to go down, the connection between the 40 and the 20 below, we do our type. But I mean, gurachis. We say it can connect below ayin sham. That is one opinion. That's but the Rambam doesn't pass like either one of them. The mishum the sham the sefta the cholbim ain't the limam tzoyis ain't sham because the sefta says only could have the middle one. Kol time rabban kafres and mechaber must go in rabban that the flow is not a chibur. V'af gurachis lo mean chibur mikvos. They also don't say gurachis that it's as if the water is below by chibur mikvos by connection mikvos. Chagina lo hevi rakti b'remer Rabbi Yehuda pluktatzam hakodem shegemara u'sham. Moran Chagiga brings only Rabbi Yehuda because they had a prior machlekes there. We don't appear in this machlekes. He says it. Zel by mikvah. That's all by mikvah. But by mayan, have a chibur, but by a spring it certainly is considered to be a connection. Kufta Gimel. Shani with Tosefta, Shemlan Tosefta. Kafu Yad Ragla V'Yoshev B'Masa Mayim. Inilzu Mayim Der Chulot Tahor. You held together your hands and your feet and sat in the waterway. If the water comes to its entirety, it's tahor. I call Shana. Klomar, meaning, Lami came with you kafus. You don't say since he's tied up, kind of like he's folded over. Aim some is that his flesh does not spread. We should be considered water, the place which the water does not penetrate. Lami okay, we don't say this. The because of sorrow. Could be the water hits all his flesh. Pay attention, make sure it happens. Plus, the Malcolm Akfisa who berifyon, and for this to be true, it's obviously the place where he's tied has to be lightly, so the water can get in there. But also there, the mikvah sheyesh barabayim some tzamos mikvah has precisely 40 or saw them somebody who tables in it loik plus the tocho should not jump into it. Because by jumping, he not to amayim michutz la mikvah. The water is going to spray out of the mikvah because they less than 40 saw. So you should go down gently. They shouldn't travel twice, one after another. The Shemar Vishayel Tabako again, Asmach Pam Hasheni, because maybe the first time he didn't tell it properly because he was lying the second time. Pam Hasheni, Efshe Maying Ksas, Miktsas, Mitfila Rishon, Shnitzel Chutz, Chitzimza. And the second time around, it's possible that there's going to be water missing because water spurted out the first time. Came Shia Boim Sam Mitzum since it's plastic 40. So Yesh Lizar V'Chomach Nuchal Chosh. And be careful in anything we have to be concerned. We could be concerned with. I've asked my Boim saw, but if it's more 40, so Yachli Boim feel our bait by me. It's told many times. Ain't Chosh is no concern. But other on the contrary, the shady don Majos Tifo Shnei Pamim Ne Bracha has the Sam Siman Reish. Our women play twice on the count of the bracha to make between tefillos, as we saw in Siman Reish. Kuftzat V'da Yishnosh Harama Per Amikvos. Heavy Shnei Dinim Eo the Koifet. So tefillas Pa'amayim. He brings down these two levels of jumping into the mikvah and toveling twice. He covers the tefillah in terms of the the kavana, the intent of tefillah, v'lav dafka, making mitzav not necessarily a mikvah, which is a very bare minimum. Zel shows the way he writes, called toivel. Anybody toivels. Toivel skaven tefillah has to have a mighty toivel. No, it's skaven even have a mighty toivel. Also tefillah chulin. Tefillah works for chulin. I feel neither should tovel kavana. Even if neither went to mikvah without kavana, muteres to bawa. It's permitted to husband. I will chumah lekachim, but for terms of eating chumah lekachim, ain't a Torah shetiba b'kavana. She's not Torah until she goes to mikvah with kavana chulei. Hakavetz don't mikvah is imaguna. Somebody who jumps to the mikvah is it's inappropriate. For tavel by my mikvah and somebody travels twice in mikvah, harei zemaguna. It's also inappropriate. The Yomer, because people say shalakir ba'alma sakein. People are going to say that he's just doing to cool himself off. For low kavanas tefillah is not with the intent to travel. The kavanas tefillah. So even the point that the tefillah should go down gently and at one time. Avalakir dakolik boats, but to get cooled off, obviously the derech can be to jump. Go dunk oneself several times. Avrosha Turbishu is said by Mikum Tzumtzemes Dafka. There's a time being Avrosha, and the tour says specifically talking about a precisely 40 sauce mikveh. And the reason is because they're afraid that the stuff is going to start, the shear is going to be diminished. That is the assumption of the order to the Shulchan Aruch. I say the Rambam also only considers the time based on it existed. Shanai with Truma Kachim and Truma Kachim were in effect. Should start Kavana there, you need Kavana. But Tfilas Nida was Manazet, but in Tfilas Nida in our day and age, Makvas Lonoshi Omru. What difference does it make whether she says something or not? Hare Nida lo by Kavana. Nida does not require Kavana to become Tor. Like he himself said. Rambam. So meaning our women who told twice is not against Rambam. That's like they'll never made a mecha against toveling twice. Because we're not talking about Shum the Shum and Kachim. Talking about in terms of Chulin. Okay, that's it for today.